Censorship in film. Is it protection or suppression? Now, before I try to answer that very loaded question, let's go over some history. From 1929 to 1934, between the silent era and the institution of the Hays Code, American filmmaking was known as pre-code Hollywood. This was a time of progressive ideals and bold subject matter. But with every two steps forward, we take one step back. From 1934 to 1968, Hollywood had to comply with the rules of the Hays Code. The Hays Code sought to limit the portrayal of sex, violence, and profanity. It reinforced conservative ideals about family values and social morality. While intended to protect audiences from what was seen as moral degradation of society, the Hays Code limited filmmakers' ability to express themselves freely. This led to movies feeling sanitized, sterile, or even formulaic. While some rules I deem very welcome, like no child pornography or no willful offense to a nation, creed, or race, others put chains on creative freedom. For example, the use of the flag, international relations, religion and religious ceremonies, arson, the use of firearms, theft, robbery, safecracking, and dynamiting of trains, mines, buildings, etc. Brutality, impossible, gruesomeness, technique of committing murder by whatever method, methods of smuggling, third-degree methods, actual hangings or electrocutions as legal punishment for crime, sympathy for criminals, attitude toward public characters and institutions, sedition, apparent cruelty to children and animals, branding of people or animals, the sale of women or of woman selling her virtue, first night scenes, man and woman in bed together, deliberate seduction of girls, the institution of marriage, surgical operations, the use of drugs, titles, or scenes having to do with law enforcement or law enforcing officers, and excessive or lustful kissing, particularly when one character or the other is a heavy. Oh, if they could see where we are now. To put things into perspective, let's look at two films that were made only a year apart. First, let's look at the pre-code film, Alfred E. Green's Babyface, made in 1933. Babyface follows the story of Lily Powers, a young woman who was sexually exploited by her father since she was 14 years old. As she grows up, she faces the horrors of the Great Depression. She continues that sexploitation to keep herself afloat. 1 year later, John Ford made The World Moves On. It was the first movie to receive the Hays Code stamp of approval. The World Moves On also took place during the Great Depression, but it was a love story following a Louisiana cotton family fighting to survive. One of the biggest criticisms of censorship in film was its ability to stifle creativity. When content is censored or altered to conform to mainstream ideals, the power of cinema as a form of social commentary is diminished. The introduction of the Motion Picture Association of America, or MPAA, replaced rigid censorship with a more flexible approach that allows audiences to make informed decisions about what content they wish to consume. Films were based off their appropriateness for different age groups. You could go see the Goofy movie with your mother, or 10 years later, she could ask to watch Bridgerton with you, in which you have a very awkward and silent rest of your afternoon. Not speaking from experience. Um, how do you stop this? Listen, I do believe that rules should be in place, but excessive guidelines breeds boredom. It hinders the possibility for unique storytelling and deep, truthful narratives. So, I can't tell you what to think, but I can tell you what a filmmaker feels. I think I look crazy.